Procrastination is the fear of success. People procrastinate because they are afraid of the possibility that they might succeed, and then not be able to maintain that level of success. That was Etienne de Grellet. And the first time I came across that quote, I didn't like it. Not because it was wrong, because it was too close. Let me paint you a picture you already know. It's 11 p.m. Your laptop is open. The document is blank. Or maybe it has a title, just a title, because typing the title felt like progress 3 hours ago. The deadline isn't tomorrow, it's today. Technically, it's already today. And you know what you're doing instead? You're reorganizing your desk. You're watching a video essay about black holes. You're scrolling through your phone with the nervous energy of someone who's lost something but can't remember what. And underneath all of that, beneath the Netflix tab and the snack run, and the sudden urgent need to clean your entire apartment, there's this weight. You can feel it. It sits right in the center of your chest. It's not the task itself. It's the awareness of the task, the knowing, the constant low-frequency hum of something you're choosing not to do while pretending you're about to do it. That feeling has a name. Psychologists call it the procrastination shame spiral. You feel bad for not working, so you avoid working to avoid feeling bad, which makes you feel worse, which makes you avoid it more. It's a loop, and it's brutal. Now here's what nobody tells you. That loop? It has almost nothing to do with laziness, nothing to do with discipline, and absolutely nothing to do with time management. Procrastination is not a character flaw. It's a defense mechanism, a remarkably sophisticated one. And once you understand what it's actually defending you from, you'll never think about it the same way again. So let's go inside your head for a moment. Literally. There are two systems fighting for control every time you sit down to do something hard. The first is your limbic system, the oldest, most primitive part of your brain. It's been around for millions of years. It doesn't think, it reacts. It wants comfort, it wants safety, it wants pleasure, and it wants it now. Not in 6 months, not after the project is done. Now. The second is your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain right behind your forehead. This is where planning lives. Strategy, long-term thinking. It's the part of you that sets goals at midnight, that writes to-do lists, that genuinely believes this will be the week everything changes. Here's the problem. The limbic system is faster, it's louder, and in any direct confrontation with the prefrontal cortex, in any moment of stress, uncertainty, or emotional discomfort, the limbic system wins. Almost every time. Not because you're weak, because it's designed to win. It kept your ancestors alive. It was never meant to help you write a thesis. And this is where it gets really interesting. There's a concept in behavioral economics called temporal discounting. The idea is simple but devastating. The further away a reward is, the less your brain values it. $100 today feels more valuable than $200 in 6 months. You know the 200 is the better deal. Logically, rationally, mathematically, it's obvious, but your brain doesn't care about math. It cares about right now. Applied to procrastination, this means something uncomfortable. When you choose to scroll instead of work, your brain is not making a mistake. It's making a trade. It's trading future satisfaction for present relief. And the reason it can do that so easily, the reason it doesn't feel like a betrayal, is because of something researchers at UCLA discovered using fMRI brain scans. When people were asked to think about themselves in the future, 5 years, 10 years from now, The brain activity they showed was nearly identical to the activity they showed when thinking about a complete stranger. Let that land for a second. Your brain treats your future self like someone else, someone it has no emotional connection to. So when you procrastinate, you're not really hurting yourself, at least not as far as your brain is concerned. You're handing a problem to some stranger you've never met and saying, "You deal with it." And the stranger is always you at 2 a.m., exhausted, panicking, running on caffeine and regret. This isn't a discipline problem. This is a design problem. Your brain was built for a world that doesn't exist anymore, and the mismatch between that ancient wiring and the demands of modern life. That's the gap where procrastination lives. But what if I told you that procrastination, under certain conditions, actually makes you better at what you do? That sounds like something a procrastinator would say to feel better. I know. Stay with me. There's a psychologist named Adam Grant, and he found that people who procrastinate moderately tend to produce more creative work than people who start immediately. Not more work, more creative work. The people who dove into a task the moment it was assigned produced competent, predictable results. The people who waited, who let the task sit in the background of their minds for a while, came back with ideas that were more original, more divergent, more surprising. And the reason for this lies in something called the Zeigarnik effect. In the 1920s, a Lithuanian psychologist named Bluma Zeigarnik noticed something peculiar about waiters in a busy restaurant. They could remember the details of complex unpaid orders with incredible precision. But the moment the bill was settled, the order vanished from their memory almost instantly. What she discovered was this: the brain holds onto incomplete tasks with a grip it never applies to completed ones. An unfinished task creates a kind of cognitive tension, an open loop, that keeps running in the background of your mind, even when you're not consciously thinking about it. This is why you get your best ideas in the shower. Your brain didn't stop working on it. It just moved the work underground. Some of history's most celebrated thinkers understood this intuitively. Leonardo da Vinci took 16 years to finish the Mona Lisa. He worked on it in bursts, abandoned it for months, picked it up again. His contemporaries called him unreliable. But during those gaps, those long stretches of apparent inactivity, he was studying anatomy and designing machines. He wasn't avoiding the work, he was incubating it. Now, and this is important, none of this means you should procrastinate on purpose and expect genius to follow. There's a critical difference between delay as incubation and delay as avoidance. One is a slow burn, the other is a fire escape. The difference isn't in the behavior, it's in the feeling underneath it. When delay is serving you, there's a quiet hum of engagement. The problem is alive in your mind. When delay is avoidance, there's a numbness, a turning away. You're not thinking about the task. You're trying not to think about it. And the energy it takes to not think about something is enormous. It's the reason procrastination doesn't actually feel like rest. You're not relaxing. You're suppressing. So the question isn't, how do I stop procrastinating? The question is, what am I avoiding feeling? Because beneath almost every pattern of chronic procrastination, there is a very specific, very quiet fear. And it's not the fear of failure. Not exactly. It's the fear of being seen trying and still not being enough. Think about that. If you never really start, if you can always say, "I didn't give it my full effort," then you're protected. You have an out. The failure doesn't count because you weren't really playing. This is perfectionism wearing the mask of procrastination, and it is everywhere. The person who wants to write a novel but has been doing research for 3 years. That's not preparation. That's armor. Perfectionism tells you that your work has to be extraordinary before anyone can see it, that you need to arrive fully formed. So you wait. You polish the idea in your head where no one can touch it, where it's still perfect because it's still imaginary. And here's the cruelty of it. The longer you wait, the higher the stakes feel. It's not just a project anymore, it's proof of who you are. It has to justify the delay. It has to be worth the wait. So the bar rises, and the paralysis deepens. Not because you couldn't do it, but because you couldn't risk being someone who tried and produced something ordinary, something human, something imperfect and real and yours. So here is the final shift. Treating procrastination as a logistics problem is like putting a bandage on a bruise. It covers it up. It doesn't heal anything. The single most effective intervention for chronic procrastination is self-compassion. I know, it sounds soft, but the data is unambiguous. Students who forgave themselves for procrastinating on a previous exam were significantly less likely to procrastinate on the next one. Not because they lowered their standards, but because they broke the shame spiral. Self-compassion doesn't lower the bar. It removes the electric fence around it. Because here's what shame does. It makes the task about you. It transforms "I need to write a report" into "I am the kind of person who can't write a report." Self-compassion separates the task from the self. It lets you say, "I didn't do the thing. That doesn't mean I'm broken. It means I was struggling, and I can try again now." You are not lazy. You are not undisciplined. You are a human being with an ancient brain trying to navigate a world it wasn't built for, carrying emotions it was never taught to process. The idea that you need to wait until you feel ready. Wait until the fear goes away, that waiting is the trap. The right time is a horizon line. You can walk toward it your entire life and never reach it. The only moment you will ever actually have is this one. The messy, imperfect, uncertain, terrifying this one. And the people who build things don't do it because the fear goes away. They do it because they stop waiting for it to. Procrastination is the fear of success, Grelis said. Maybe he was right. Maybe the thing we're really afraid of isn't failing. Maybe it's discovering what we're actually capable of and having to live up to it every day after. Maybe that's the thing worth walking toward. Even now, even afraid, especially before you're ready.